Today I'm painting a Bluetit on textured cotton rag paper, starting off with cyan for the crown. They look cute and innocent, but word is that they're actually cheeky little thieves. Apparently they were well known for pestering the milkman by pecking through the foil tops of the milk bottles to get to the cream. And there are reports of them doing this for decades until finally milk deliveries were a thing of the past, and so was their life of luxury. I've softened up that colour with some more water and I'm working it into the upper wing and the tail feathers. The cyan in this Schmincke set leans a bit more into those blue tones than green, so in this case it works rather well. With a little more pigment on the brush, I'm deepening some areas for contrast, laying down a bit more cyan for the facial stripe, that distinctive little line running across the side of the Bluetit's head. I'm using indigo on a rather dry brush to feel out the beak, just testing the colour out on a small area, and I think that works okay, so I'll bring that through the facial stripe and also start building up the eye. I'm enjoying how punchy the indigo looks, so I'll work more of it through the feathers. Those colours are blended nicely, so I'll wet the brush just a touch more to boost the saturation, then feather the paint outward so it melts into the surrounding plumage. With what's left on the brush, I'm filling in some of the paler feathers around the neck and sides of the head. Now back to the beak. I've mixed Payne's grey with a touch of indigo to deepen the tone and add definition. Trying to keep a steady hand. I don't want to risk losing the bird's delicate profile. The last thing I want is for it to look like she just lost a fight at the local bird feeder. Moving to the breast, I'm starting with cadmium yellow for a base. That's a bit cooler than I'd hoped for, so I'm going to paint over that with Indian yellow to warm up the tone. a Bluetit plumage has beautiful soft greens in it, so I'm going to turn to one of my favourite shades, olive green yellowish. I just love the name. It sounds a bit like a placeholder that accidentally made it into the final set. I'm dabbing it lightly over the yellow areas, building some depth and giving the feathers a more natural, lived-in look. I'm going in stronger with that colour across the back, where the feathers shift to a deeper green. For variation, I'm adding touches of Prussian blue here and there. And I've got to be a bit careful. One of the nice qualities of the cotton rag paper is that it diffuses the paint with a nice organic aesthetic. But it also means, as is happening here, that the paint can start wandering a little bit. However, that's also part of the charm, so I'll let it do its thing. Now I'll dab in more Indian yellow on the chest for a textured, downy softness. Then I'll use indigo to define the wing edge and gently separate it out from the body. I'm using a wet brush to sweep out the tail and give it some more shape. For the legs, I'm using Payne's Grey, applied delicately with a dry brush to test the tone. That was a bit too dark for me, so I'm going to mix it up with opaque white to soften it. It's getting there now. Now that I can see how that colour sits, I'll go in more confidently with more paint. That muted grey also works well for subtle texture around the face area. I'll just brush those marks out with some clean water, just enough to suggest the soft white feathers along the cheeks and brow without overpowering the other facial markings. A few more light sweeps of indigo bring out some of the deeper shadows. I'm going to blend the chest a bit more. And with a pen, I'll add a few dashes and squiggles. Nothing too heavy, just enough to define and tighten up a couple of areas. To finish, I'll layer in a bit of yellow ochre around the belly. Finally, a few delicate strokes of opaque white for the wing bar. Just a small touch, but it really adds to the character. And there we have it, a colourful little Bluetit. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time.